Good afternoon and welcome to Deefer Diving's YouTube channel, where today we're going to have another look at another Garmin dive computer. As regular viewers of this channel will know, we're rather partial to the Garmin Descent range of dive computers. I currently sport a Garmin Descent MK2, having previously sported an MK1, and I love them. And there's a bunch of reasons why. If you're interested in looking down at our previous videos, check in the links below, but check out my comments on the Garmin Descent MK1 and MK2. Whilst you're doing that, please splash down on the like button, and more importantly, hit subscribe, as that will help the YouTube algorithm, and we'll be able to provide you with more content and make sure that we know which content you love and appreciate. So today we're going to have a look at this little baby. This is the Garmin Descent G1. Now, it's been on the market for about a year, and I've taken a little bit of time to get used to the dive computer and dive with it many times before I formed my own opinion, as it's one of those dive computers where I loved it, I hated it, I thought it was awesome, I thought it was pointless, before I've settled down on a view and an opinion based on diving it on and off for about 6 months. Well, again, anybody who's watched any of our videos on the Garmin Descent MK1 and MK2 series will know that the primary features of the Descent range is that it's a fully functioning smartwatch that's also a dive computer, but not in the same way as an Apple Watch Ultra is. This is geared around being a dive computer first, as opposed to it's a bolt-on and a subscription service. Now, knowing Garmin, that may come later, but right now it's not a subscription service. So what we have is a Bullman ZHL16C, a logarithm built into a dive computer. It has a maximum operating depth of 100 meters, 10 atmospheres, and is fairly robust. It has all of the dive modes that you may want, including single gas, multi-gas, CCR, apnea, gauge, you know, what you would absolutely expect of a dive computer in 2023. But also it has all of the features of a Garmin sports watch. So it does heart rate monitoring, it does blood oxygen monitoring, it has included in it GPS. So from a diving perspective, it can track your entry and exit points, but also if you want to go cycling or running or walking or hiking or any other type of activity, it will track your routes, it will track your progress, it will show you your calories, it will show you your heart rate over time. It actually tracks my sleep, which I find quite interesting, as I wake up in the morning feeling tired and I have data that shows me that, yes, I'm tired. And here's the reason why. I had a fit full night's sleep or something like that. All I'm saying is that if you enjoy a fitness watch, a smartwatch, then this as a dive computer has all of those features built in. But what's the so what? Why would you want to have those built into a dive computer? Well, you might be somebody like me, and I only wear one watch. I only have one device. And whilst having an Apple iWatch or a Samsung Galaxy Watch might be quite good, it would then mean that I need to buy another dive computer, another watch. And as a dive professional, I just find it easier just to have a single device. And so if you're in the market for a watch-style dive computer, then this is probably about as good as you're going to get for its price point. Now, I know there are some people who are going to say the Shearwater Peregrine is a better dive computer, and it has a better display, it has a bigger display, but it is certainly not watch style. You couldn't wear a Shearwater Peregrine as a daily watch. So it's about your choices. The Peregrine is a better dive computer for $500. But it's only a dive computer. This is a smartwatch and dive computer. It pays your money, it takes your choice. Now, I am a watch-style dive computer wearer, and that's why this really appeals to me. How does it look? If I look at the Garmin Descent MK2, it is a robust, solid piece of hardware. It's got a big screen, it looks manly, it looks assertive, and it looks hardcore, I think. Whereas the G1, well, it kind of doesn't. It looks to me like a Casio Baby G. So for a $500 dive computer, you're getting something that looks a bit like a $50 digital watch. So I don't know if that was the intent that Garmin had when they developed it or not, but with the grey, and it looks kind of boring. Now I know that there are straps available direct from Garmin and on Amazon and all the other places, because these are rather easy straps to replace, and so you can zhuzh it up and make it a little bit nicer, but out of the box, yeah, it's kind of bland. What it does have though is a really clear monochrome display. Now you lose the color, and so I know some people will say this is at a similar price point to the Suunto D5, and it hasn't got the size of a Suunto D5, and it doesn't have the ability to do AI that the D5 has. So it's got a nice monochrome display, which I'll be honest with you, underwater was in many instances clearer to read than the color display on my MK2. Now, whether that's because I don't have the brightness settings up or to do with all the different colors, but the white on black, which is the screen that I've chosen on this one, actually was really easy to read underwater. But out of water, for somebody my age, for somebody with my eyesight, I can't read much of what's on there. So I can read the time and the date, and then there's some other stuff that's underneath it that I've got no idea what it says unless I'm wearing my glasses. But underwater, with the 30% magnification of just being underwater, I found that I had no issues seeing everything that's on that display. How does it feel to use? Well, it uses the same software as the Garmin Descent MK series, exactly the same software. So it has, as I've said, all of those different dive modes, and it has 5 buttons. The top button turns it on or off, but also gets you into your quick menus. This one gets you into your multifunction menus. You have select and up and down arrows. Once you get used to the 5 buttons, it actually makes a lot of sense, and is nice and easy to use. But it does feel a bit cheap. I mean, it feels plasticky, it feels light, and as I said, it kind of reminds me a lot of a Casio Baby G. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a problem, but when you're shucking out $500, maybe you want it to feel a bit more premium. So who is this dive computer aimed at? At $500 to $600, it's not a cheap dive computer, so it's not aimed at somebody who's just getting into diving. With the feature set it's got, with the ability to do multi-gas, with the ability to do tech, with the ability to do CCR, it's not aimed at the entry-level diver. But with its form factor and small screen, it's not really aimed at the hardcore diver, the proper tech, the proper CCR diver. So it's kind of what really is this marketplace. And I kind of look at it and say, where the MK series with its big chunky display is a man's watch, maybe this, like the MK2S, is aimed at the more female side. But in which case they need to improve the colours, because the grey and the blue that they've got just maybe don't cut it. So who is this dive computer aimed at? I kind of think it's those people who would want to have all the functionality of something like a Peregrine, who would want to have all the functionality of something like a Perdix, but they want to be able to wear it every day, and they don't want to shell out $1,000 or $1,200 for a Teric or a Descent MK2. And so the question we've got is there actually a market for this type of dive computer? Well, I'm going to work on the premise that Garmin have done their research and they've found that there is a market for this dive computer. I've seen no stats to say that it's selling well or it's not selling well, but in my own personal opinion, having dived this now for maybe 40 dives, I actually quite like it. In dive mode, I particularly like it. It's a nice clear display, not cluttered, not too much information, and particularly in the compass mode, where the compass isn't overly graphical. It has little lines for lineation of the degrees that you're turning, and nice simple use of waypoints or markers or setting headings. But it's not obtrusive, and it's very easy to read. The only thing I don't like is this piece just here, where at the moment it's got the date and it has the different modes on it. It kind of seems superfluous to me when we're diving, but takes up a lot of real estate on the screen. But I kind of like it. I particularly like all the other features that it's got. I'm very comfortable with the Descent MK2, and so being able to jump onto this and everything is exactly where it was on the MK2 on this dive computer. It's nice and easy to use. But what are its limitations? Well, it's not a tech computer, let's be honest. If you were looking at diving down to 100 meters or 300 feet, you wouldn't be taking one of these with you. It's a plastic unibody. No, you wouldn't. But then the reality is, would you really be doing that with an MK1 or an MK2 either? Probably not. If you're somebody who dives professionally, a bit expensive, but this is probably a good computer for you. It's rechargeable. The battery lasts, correctly, when I've been using it, 3 weeks, 2.5 to 3 weeks, diving pretty much every day and not charging it up at all during that time. So yeah, 2.5 weeks easily. The strap that comes with it is one of the regular straps that Garmin is selling on all of its dive computers, and hey, it's better than the old Sunto straps, is all I'm going to say. It's silicone, it feels soft, it feels rubbery. I did find it got a little bit sweaty out here in the Caribbean humidity of the summer, but it's easy enough to replace the straps, as I've said. And so the final question is, should you buy one? Now, if you're in the market for a new dive computer and you've decided you want a watch style dive computer and you're looking at all of the various options that are out there, you've got your Suntos, you've got your Oceanics, you've got your Hog Atmos and maybe your Deep Six Incursion, you've got the Garmin's. I actually think it's a damn good dive computer for its price in that marketplace. Yes, you could get a D4 or perhaps even a Mares dive computer for cheaper that won't have the GPS, that won't have the smartwatch functionality, that won't link to your mobile phone and give you all of that extra data. But if that extra data, that extra feature set is what you're looking for, the price premium between a D4 and this, I'd say it's definitely worth it, really, in my opinion. In today's modern age, with the different things that we want to do with our lifestyles, I think it's a damn good dive computer for its price. Would I choose it over an MK2? Hell no. No. For me, the MK2 still represents the best dive computer on the market, but this as a $500 to $600 dive computer, I think it's a damn good product. Anyway, thank you for joining me today as we've just done a very quick deep dive into the Garmin Descent G1. If you've enjoyed this video, please let us know in the comments. If you don't like the watch, if you don't like the dive computer, and you're going to tell me you should have just gone for a Shearwater Terric, make sure you put that in the comments below. I'm not a Terric hater. I really do like the Shearwater Terric, except for you got to charge it every freaking day. That's my only issue with the Shearwater Terric and the Sunto D5. But I've been impressed with this little baby. Just wish it didn't look so much like a Casio. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. We'll see you soon.